My name is Bridget, and I'm about to tell you how my sister tried to steal my $800,000 house just 3 days after my husband's funeral, using a 1-year-old baby as her weapon. She thought grief had broken me. She thought I'd be too weak to fight back. But what she didn't know was that my late husband Adam had predicted her betrayal months before his death and left me everything I needed to expose her lies in front of 20 witnesses at a child's birthday party. The moment she pulled out that forged will, claiming her son Lucas was Adam's secret child, I almost laughed. Because tucked safely in my phone were medical records that would destroy her elaborate con in seconds. Before we dive into this family betrayal, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy stories about justice being served. I'd love to know where you're watching from and what time it is there. Drop a comment below. Now let me take you back to where this nightmare began, the day Adam died. It was a Tuesday morning in March, when I woke up to silence. Not the peaceful kind, the wrong kind. The kind that makes your heart stop before your brain catches up. Adam always snored softly, a sound I'd complained about for 12 years of marriage. That morning, there was nothing. Adam? I touched his shoulder. Cold. Too cold. The aneurysm had taken him in his sleep. One moment he was there, the next, gone. No warning, no goodbye, just silence. The next few days blurred together, funeral arrangements, flowers, casseroles from neighbors, and Cassandra, my younger sister, suddenly everywhere. "I'll handle the caterers," she said, taking my phone before I could respond. "You need to eat," she insisted, pushing another plate at me. "Where does Adam keep the important papers?" she asked on day 2, rifling through his home office. I was too numb to question her sudden helpfulness. Cassandra and I had never been close. She'd always resented that I married well, that Adam and I had built something solid while she jumped from one failed relationship to another. But grief has a way of making you stupid, making you grateful for any hand that reaches out. "The lawyers will need the deed to the house," she said, opening drawers in Adam's desk. "And his will. You know where he kept the will, right?" "Everything's in the bank safety deposit box," I mumbled, not really paying attention. Adam was meticulous about that stuff. She paused, her hand frozen on a drawer handle. "Everything?" "He said it was safer there. Said he'd seen too many families torn apart by missing documents." Cassandra's jaw tightened for just a second. Then she smiled, that practiced real estate agent smile she used on clients. Smart man, always thinking ahead. What I didn't tell her was that Adam had given me very specific instructions about those documents. 3 weeks before his death, he'd sat me down, completely serious. "If anything happens to me," he'd said, "don't let anyone pressure you about money. Not even family, especially not family." I'd laughed it off then. Adam was only 40, healthy, successful. We had time. We didn't. The day after the funeral, Cassandra showed up at my door at 7 a.m. with coffee and Lucas on her hip. "You shouldn't be alone," she announced, pushing past me into the kitchen. Lucas missed his Aunt Bridget. Lucas was adorable, all chubby cheeks and grabbing fingers. But something felt off about Cassandra's sudden sisterly concern. She'd barely visited in the past year, and now she was here every day. "You know," she said, settling Lucas in his high chair. "Adam always loved Lucas. Said he reminded him of himself at that age." I frowned. "Adam barely saw Lucas. You guys came to, what, 2 dinners last year?" "Oh, he saw him more than you knew." She busied herself with Lucas's breakfast, not meeting my eyes. "Adam was very generous with his time." The way she said generous made my skin crawl. "Speaking of generous," she continued, "have you thought about what you'll do with this big house, all alone? It must be worth, what, $800,000 now? Maybe more?" "I'm not selling." "Of course not. Not right away. But eventually, I mean, the maintenance alone must be crushing, the property taxes, the utilities." She pulled out her phone, suddenly all business. "I ran some numbers. You could clear $400,000 easy after the mortgage." There is no mortgage, we paid it off last year. Her eyes lit up like a slot machine hitting jackpot. Really? The whole thing? Adam got a huge bonus from the software company acquisition. We celebrated by burning the mortgage papers in the backyard. The memory stung. We'd danced around that little fire like idiots, drinking champagne straight from the bottle. So you own it free and clear. Cassandra's voice had a strange edge. That's That's wonderful, Bridget. Really wonderful. She stayed another hour, asking about life insurance, retirement accounts, Adam's investment portfolio. Each question dressed up as concern, but feeling more like an inventory. As she packed up Lucas's things, she paused at the door. Oh, Lucas's first birthday party is this Saturday. You should come. It'll be good for you. Get you out of the house, see people. I don't know if I'm ready for a party. It's not a party, just family and close friends. Please, Lucas would want his aunt there. She squeezed my hand. We're family, Bridget. We need to stick together now. I should have heard the threat in those words, but all I heard was my little sister, finally trying to bridge the gap between us. Okay, I said. I'll come. That night, I sat in Adam's office, surrounded by the ghosts of our life together. Every corner of this house held a memory. The kitchen island where he'd proposed over Chinese takeout. The master bathroom we'd renovated ourselves, fighting over tile colors. The spare bedroom we'd painted yellow, then repainted white, when the fertility treatments failed. This house wasn't just property. It was our entire marriage, built into walls and floors. $800,000. That's what Cassandra saw when she looked at my home. A number on her real estate calculator. But for me, this was where Adam taught me to make his grandmother's lasagna, where we slow danced to Sam Cooke at 2 a.m. when neither of us could sleep, where he held me through 3 miscarriages and whispered that we were enough, just the two of us. I pulled out our financial folder. Adam had insisted on paper copies of everything. Our savings, $50,000, life insurance, $250,000. Enough to live on for a while, but not forever. At 38, I had decades ahead of me. The house was my security, my stability. If I lost it, I'd lose everything. My phone buzzed. Cassandra again. Just thinking, you should probably get Adam's will from the bank before Saturday. You know, just to have everything sorted, peace of mind. Why Saturday? Why before Lucas's party? Another text. Mom's been asking about your plans. She's worried about you rattling around in that big house alone. Then another. BTW. Lucas has been saying Dada a lot lately. Isn't that sweet? Even though his father's not around. That last text made me pause. Cassandra had never told anyone who Lucas's father was. She'd shown up pregnant 18 months ago, refused to name the dad, and had Lucas on her own. Mom had theories. A married man, probably. Someone who couldn't or wouldn't claim the baby. But why mention it now? I walked to the window, looking out at the backyard where Adam and I had burned those mortgage papers. He'd been so happy that night. But also, relieved? Like we'd crossed some finish line I didn't know we were racing toward. Always keep the receipts, Bridget, he'd said that night, holding me close. Always keep proof of what's yours. At the time, I thought he meant the house papers. Now, standing in his empty office, I wondered if he'd meant something else entirely. Thursday morning, my mother called. Cassandra says you're being stubborn about the house. I nearly dropped my coffee. What? She's just worried about you, sweetheart. That big house, all those memories. Maybe a fresh start would help. Mom, Adam's been gone a week. I'm not selling our home. No one's saying sell, but maybe share? Family helps family, Bridget. Cassandra's struggling with Lucas on her own. She makes good money in real estate. The market's been slow. Mom's voice took on that tone, the one she'd used my whole life when defending Cassandra. And raising a baby alone is expensive. You and Adam never had children. You don't understand the costs. That stung exactly where she'd aimed it. Besides, Mom continued, Adam would want you to help. He was always so generous. How would you know what Adam wanted? A pause. Cassandra mentioned he'd been helping her, with Lucas. Helping how? Oh, you know, advice, support. He understood what it was like for her. My hand tightened on the phone. Adam barely knew Lucas. Men don't always share everything with their wives, sweetheart. The implication hung there like a bad smell. I wanted to scream at her, defend Adam, defend our marriage. But Mom had already moved on. Just come to the party Saturday. Family should be together right now. After she hung up, I sat in the silence of my kitchen, trying to make sense of what I was hearing. Cassandra was building some narrative, painting a picture I didn't recognize. Adam, involved with Lucas? Adam, keeping secrets? I knew my husband. We'd shared everything. Our dreams, our failures, our Friday night Netflix passwords. He couldn't. My phone rang. Harold Mitchell, Adam's lawyer and golf buddy. Bridget, I'm so sorry I missed the funeral. I was in depositions in Seattle. His voice was warm, paternal. How are you holding up? I'm managing. Listen, we should meet soon about Adam's estate. He was very specific about his wishes. Very thorough. Thorough? He updated everything 6 months ago, said he wanted to make sure you were protected. Harold paused. He also left me some sealed instructions, said I should open them if anyone contested the will or made claims against the estate. My pulse quickened. What kind of claims? He didn't specify, but Adam was one of the most careful men I knew. If he thought something might happen, Harold trailed off. Can you come by Monday? We'll go through everything properly. Yes, Monday's fine. But even as I agreed, I knew Monday might be too late. You know, as I tell this story, I realize how many red flags I missed in my grief. Have you ever had someone close to you take advantage during your weakest moment? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you're finding value in this story, if it's resonating with you, please hit that like button. It really helps others find these stories too. Let me know where you're watching from. It's amazing how universal these family dynamics can be, whether you're in California or Kentucky, New York, or New Mexico. Now, let me tell you about the party that changed everything. Saturday arrived gray and drizzling, fitting weather for my mood. I sat in my car outside Cassandra's rental house, watching guests arrive with wrapped presents and cheerful smiles. Normal people living normal lives, while I was walking into something that felt increasingly like a trap. Inside, the living room was transformed into a circus theme. Bright balloons, a banner reading, "Lucas is one," and about 20 people I half recognized. Cassandra's work friends, some cousins from Mom's side, neighbors. Bridget! Cassandra swooped over, air-kissing my cheek. She wore a red dress that screamed, "Look at me." You came! I said I would. Everyone. She clinked a spoon against her wine glass, though it was barely noon. My sister's here, Adam's widow. The room went quiet. Why did she phrase it like that? Not my sister Bridget, but Adam's widow. Like that was my only identity now. People murmured condolences, the same empty phrases I'd heard all week. But there was something else in their looks. Curiosity? Pity? Or did they know something I didn't? Lucas is napping, Cassandra said, loud enough for everyone to hear. He was up all night. He's been so fussy lately, missing missing familiar faces. Mom appeared at my elbow. He does look like Adam, doesn't he? Around the eyes? I stared at her. What? Lucas. Those brown eyes. Just like Adam's. 40% of the world has brown eyes, Mom. She patted my arm. Denial is part of grief, sweetheart. What the hell was happening? I felt like I'd walked into a play where everyone knew their lines except me. My phone buzzed. Harold Mitchell. Tried calling. Important, you know. Adam had medical procedures documented. Call me. Before I could step outside to call him back, Cassandra clinked her glass again. Everyone, before we wake Lucas for cake, I have an announcement. The room fell silent. She stood in the center, that real estate smile plastered on her face, but her eyes were sharp as glass. This has been a difficult week for our family. Losing Adam so suddenly. She dabbed at her eyes, though they were dry. But I believe in truth, in honesty, even when it's painful. My stomach dropped. Whatever was coming, she'd rehearsed it. This was why she'd wanted me here, surrounded by witnesses. There's something you all need to know, she continued. Something about Lucas's father. Lucas's father, Cassandra said, pausing for maximum drama, was my sister's husband, Adam. The room exploded. Gasps, whispers, someone actually dropped a glass. All eyes turned to me, waiting for my reaction. Denial? Rage? Collapse? I stood perfectly still, my face blank. That's impossible. I know this is shocking. No, I mean it's literally impossible. Cassandra's smile tightened. Bridget, I understand you're in denial. Adam had a vasectomy 2 years ago. Now it was Cassandra's turn to freeze, but only for a second. Vasectomies can fail, she said smoothly. It happens more than people think. With a zero sperm count confirmed twice by lab tests? A murmur rippled through the crowd, but Cassandra wasn't done. She pulled out her phone, swiping to something. I have texts from Adam. She held the phone up, though no one could read it from where they stood. Planning meetings, talking about Lucas. Show me. She clutched the phone to her chest. These are private. You just announced to 20 people that you slept with my husband. Privacy went out the window. I kept my voice level, professional. The voice I used in financial meetings when someone tried to bullshit numbers. She showed me the screen. Generic texts. Can we meet? How's Lucas? No contact name, no photos, timestamps that could have been edited. These could be from anyone. But they're not. She was getting desperate now, her voice climbing. And I have more proof. Adam provided for Lucas. He wanted to make sure his son was taken care of. She reached into her purse and pulled out a manila envelope. His will, she announced, leaving Lucas his rightful inheritance. The room held its breath. Mom stepped forward, her face pale. Even she hadn't expected this. Cassandra opened the envelope with shaking hands, pulling out official-looking papers. It states clearly that Lucas Adam Morrison, yes, I gave him Adam's middle name, is to receive half the value of the marital home, $400,000. When did Adam supposedly write this will? I asked. 3 months ago, right after Lucas started walking, Adam said, he said seeing his son's first steps changed everything. I almost laughed. Almost. Because 3 months ago, Adam and I were in Hawaii for our anniversary. 10 days on Maui, completely offline, celebrating 12 years together. But I didn't say that. Not yet. Instead, I said, may I see the will? 3 months ago. The timeline Cassandra had chosen was perfect, actually, if you didn't know the details of our life. As I reached for the will, a memory surfaced. Adam in our hotel room in Maui, laptop open despite our no-work rule. Just one thing, he'd said. Harold needs some signatures. Can't it wait? He'd looked at me strangely then. It's about protecting you, about making sure no one can ever challenge what's ours. I'd laughed, kissed his forehead. Who would challenge anything? We don't have enemies, Adam. Sometimes, he'd said quietly, the people who hurt us most are the ones we'd never suspect. Now, standing in my sister's living room with 24 eyes on me, those words felt prophetic. Actually, I said, not taking the papers yet, before I look at this will, can you tell me which lawyer prepared it? Adam only worked with Harold Mitchell at Mitchell and Associates. Cassandra's eye twitched. He used someone else for this. For discretion. What firm? Does it matter? Legal documents always matter. I finally took the papers, noting how Cassandra's hands trembled as she released them. The will was impressive, Professional letterhead from Johnson Legal Services. Adam's signature looked close, very close. But I'd watched my husband sign 1,000 documents over 12 years. The way his A curved, how he dotted his I's with a tiny dash instead of a dot. This was good, but not perfect. This is dated March 15th, I said. Yes. The day we flew to Hawaii. He must have signed it before. Our flight was at 6 a.m. This is notarized at 2 p.m. I looked up at the crowd, making eye contact with several people. We were somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. Cassandra's face flushed. He could have signed it earlier and had it notarized. That's not how notarization works. The notary has to witness the signature. I turned to page 2. Speaking of which, this notary seal looks wrong. Harold, I called out, knowing he wasn't there but making a point. Oh, wait, Harold's not here, but he did text me something interesting. I pulled out my phone, finding Harold's message. He says Adam documented some medical procedures, specifically a vasectomy on January 10th, 2 years ago, with follow-up tests confirming 0 sperm count. The room was dead silent now. So either Adam could teleport and produce sperm from nothing, I said calmly, or someone's lying. 2 years ago, January 10th. I remembered that day perfectly because I'd driven Adam home from the urologist, him cracking jokes through the discomfort. No more accidents, he'd said, squeezing my hand. Our family is complete, just the two of us. We'd made that decision together after the third miscarriage nearly broke me. The doctor said I could keep trying, but Adam saw what it was doing to me, to us. The hormones, the hope, the devastating disappointments. I love you more than some theoretical child, he'd said. Let's choose us. The vasectomy was his idea. Permanent, irreversible, at least the way Dr. Patterson did it. Adam had researched extensively, insisting on the most thorough procedure. If we're closing this door, he'd said, I want it locked, bolted, and welded shut. Dr. Patterson had laughed, but Adam was serious. He'd even paid extra for the advanced procedure, the one with virtually 0 chance of reversal. 6 weeks later, the first test, 0 sperm count. 6 months later, the second test, still 0. You're officially shooting blanks, Dr. Patterson had joked. Adam had kept every piece of paperwork. You never know when you might need medical records, he'd said, filing them carefully in our home safe. But there was something else. Something I'd forgotten until now. About 8 months ago, Cassandra had made a strange comment at Mom's birthday dinner. Lucas needs a father figure, she'd said, watching Adam help Lucas with his sippy cup. Someone successful, stable. Maybe you should try dating someone age-appropriate, I'd suggested. She'd laughed bitterly. All the good ones are taken. Then she'd looked directly at Adam. Aren't they? Adam had excused himself to the bathroom. When he came back, he suggested we leave early. In the car, he'd been quiet. Then, your sister makes me uncomfortable. She's harmless. No, he'd said firmly. She's not. Promise me something, Bridget. If anything happens to me, don't trust her. Don't trust anyone who suddenly wants to help with our finances. Nothing's going to happen to you. He'd pulled over then, turned to face me. Promise me. Get Harold involved immediately. He has instructions. I'd promised, thinking he was being paranoid. Now, standing in Cassandra's living room with a forged will in my hands, I realized Adam hadn't been paranoid at all. He'd been preparing. This will, Cassandra announced to the room, ignoring my points about the timeline, is legally binding. Adam wanted to provide for his son. Your son, I corrected, not Adam's. Denial won't change the facts, Bridget. She turned to the crowd, playing to her audience. I know this is painful for her. Finding out your perfect husband had a secret life. The only secret here is who Lucas's actual father is. Cassandra's face went red. How dare you? How dare I what? Question your convenient story? The one where my dead husband somehow fathered a child despite medical impossibility. Mom stepped between us. Girls, please, not in front of everyone. She started this, Mom, I said. She chose to make this announcement at a baby's birthday party. Because I knew you'd never discuss it privately, Cassandra's voice cracked. You've always thought you were better than me. With your perfect marriage, your perfect house, your perfect life. So you decided to destroy my husband's memory? I'm telling the truth. Then you won't mind if we do a DNA test. The room went silent again. Cassandra's mouth opened, closed, opened again. You can't test DNA without Adam. Actually, you can. Adam's parents are still alive. Grandparent DNA tests are standard in estate disputes. I was bluffing. I had no idea if Adam's parents would agree, but Cassandra didn't know that. That's invasive, unnecessary. Not if you're claiming $400,000 of my property. One of Cassandra's work friends whispered something to another. The cousins were exchanging looks. Even Mom seemed uncertain now. Cassandra straightened, pulling Lucas's high chair closer to her. The will is clear, and it's notarized. That's all that matters legally. By Johnson Legal Services? I pulled out my phone. Let me Google them real quick. Don't. Oh, interesting. No law firm by that name is registered in our state. I showed the screen to the nearest guests. Or any surrounding state. Maybe I got the name wrong. You just said it was notarized. The notary's name is right here. Patricia Johnson. Let me check the state notary database. I typed quickly. No Patricia Johnson registered as a notary in the past 5 years. The murmur in the room grew louder. Someone said, "That's fraud." Another whispered, "Forging legal documents is a felony." Cassandra's hands were shaking now. "You're lying. You're making this up because you can't accept—" "I'm stating facts, unlike you." "Even if the vasectomy is real," Cassandra said desperately, "procedures fail. Lucas exists. He's here. He's real." "No one's denying Lucas exists. Just your story about his father." The room was dividing now. Some guests edging toward the door, others leaning in for the drama. Mom stood frozen between us, her face pale. "Bridget," one of the cousins said gently, "maybe you should go. This is Lucas's party. That she invited me to specifically for this ambush." "It's not an ambush. It's the truth." Cassandra was almost screaming now. "Adam loved me. He chose me." "He chose you?" I laughed. But it wasn't cruel, just tired. "Adam couldn't stand you. He thought you were manipulative and greedy." "You're lying." "Am I? Remember last Christmas? You got drunk and tried to sit on his lap? He literally pushed you off and left the room." Several people gasped. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. "Or Thanksgiving 2 years ago?" I continued. "When you accidentally walked in on him showering at Mom's house? He installed a lock on that bathroom door the next day. Those were misunderstandings. Or my birthday dinner when you showed up in that dress, the one with basically no back, and kept touching his arm. He asked me to never leave him alone with you again." Cassandra's face was purple now. "You're making all this up. You're jealous because he wanted me." "I have the text, Cassandra. Adam's real text to me. About how uncomfortable you made him. About how he thought you were unstable." I pulled out my phone, scrolling to old messages. Here's one from 18 months ago. "Your sister just called me at work. Again. How did she even get my direct line? This is getting creepy." Another from last year. "Cassandra drove by the house 3 times today. I saw her car on the security camera. Should we be worried?" The room was dead silent except for Lucas starting to fuss in his high chair. And here's my favorite from 6 months ago. "If Cassandra ever claims I'm involved with her in any way, she's lying. I'm documenting this in case she escalates. Harold has copies of everything." I looked up at my sister. "He knew, Cassandra. He knew you were planning something. He just didn't know he'd die before you tried it." At this point in the story, I need to pause and ask, have you ever had someone try to rewrite history after a person died? Someone who thought grief would make you too weak to fight back? I'm curious about your experiences. Drop a comment below. And if this story is resonating with you, if you're feeling that satisfaction of watching truth come to light, please hit that like button. It helps more people find these stories of standing up for yourself. Now, let me tell you how Adam protected me from beyond the grave, and how my sister's lies finally completely unraveled. I set my phone down and looked directly at Cassandra. Now, about this will, should we call the police about the forgery? Or would you like to admit the truth first? I. I. She was cornered, and everyone could see it. Let me make this easier, I said, pulling up another number on my phone. Harold Mitchell is Adam's actual lawyer. He has Adam's real will, properly executed and notarized. Should I call him? No! The word exploded out of her. Why not? If your will is real, there's no problem. The room watched like we were a tennis match, back and forth, truth against lies. The notary might have made a mistake with the seal, Cassandra tried weakly. And the law firm that doesn't exist? I could have gotten the name wrong. And Adam signing it while flying over the Pacific? She was crying now, but they weren't tears of grief. They were tears of someone caught. You don't understand, she sobbed. I'm drowning. Lucas needs so much and I can't afford it all. The rent, the daycare, the formula. So you tried to steal my house? It's not stealing. You have everything. The house, the life insurance, the savings. Adam had so much, and Lucas has nothing. Lucas has a mother who should get a better job instead of committing fraud. Mom finally spoke. Cassandra, is this will real? My sister's silence was answer enough. Oh my God, Mom whispered. You forged legal documents? You lied about Adam? I needed the money. Then ask for help, I said. Don't create elaborate lies about my dead husband. You wouldn't have helped me. You're right, I wouldn't have given you $400,000. But I might have helped with Lucas's daycare, or groceries, if you'd asked instead of scheming. One of the guests, a lawyer from Cassandra's office, spoke up. Cassandra, if this will is forged, you could be disbarred. You could go to prison. The reality finally hit her. She collapsed into a chair, sobbing for real now. I looked around the room at all these witnesses. I want everyone here to remember this moment. Remember what she tried to do, because I'm done protecting her from consequences. I picked up my purse, then paused. Oh, and Cassandra? Harold has been recording this entire conversation. He's on speakerphone in my pocket. Say hi, Harold. Hello, everyone. Harold's voice came through clearly. I've documented everything for the potential fraud case. You were recording this? Cassandra shrieked. That's illegal. Actually, Harold's voice came through my phone. In our state, only one party needs to consent to recording. Bridget consented. And given that you announced your fraudulent claims in a public setting with 20 witnesses, you have no expectation of privacy. I pulled the phone out, switching off speaker but keeping Harold on the line. Now, I said, let's discuss the actual facts. Harold, would you mind sharing what Adam documented? Certainly. Adam underwent a vasectomy on January 10th, 2 years ago, performed by Dr. Patterson at Valley Urology. The procedure was specifically a bilateral vasectomy with fascial interposition and cauterization, the most permanent form available. Several guests looked confused, so Harold simplified. It means there's zero chance of reversal without major surgery, which Adam never had. But more importantly, Harold continued, Adam had follow-up tests, 2 of them. Both showed complete azoospermia, 0 sperm count. The chances of him fathering a child after that are essentially impossible. Tests can be wrong, Cassandra started. Which is why Adam had them done at 2 different labs, Harold cut her off. He also had a 3rd test done 6 months ago when you started making comments about Lucas looking like him. Still 0. The room collectively turned to stare at Cassandra. He knew, she whispered. He suspected you might try something, Harold said. That's why he updated his will 6 months ago with very specific language. He also wrote a sealed letter to be opened if anyone contested his estate or made claims of paternity. What does the letter say? Mom asked quietly. I can't share the full contents without Bridget's permission, but I can say this. Adam documented every inappropriate interaction with Cassandra over the past 2 years. Every unwanted advance, every suspicious comment, every time she showed up at his office uninvited. Cassandra's work friends were backing away from her now. The cousins looked horrified. Even Mom had stepped away. He also included security camera footage, Harold added, of Cassandra attempting to enter their house when no one was home, 3 separate occasions. I was checking on things, Cassandra protested. With the spare key you had made without permission? I asked. Yeah, we knew about that too. Adam changed the locks and installed cameras because of you. Lucas started crying, the only innocent person in this mess. Despite everything, I felt sorry for him. None of this was his fault. Harold, I said, can you come to the house? I think we need to handle this formally. I'm actually in my car outside. I thought you might need backup. The room stirred. Cassandra's face went white. 2 minutes later, Harold Mitchell walked in, 62 years old, silver-haired, carrying the authority of 40 years in law. He had a briefcase and a presence that made everyone stand a little straighter. Ms. Morrison, he addressed Cassandra formally, I need you to understand the seriousness of your actions. Forging a will is a Class C felony in this state. It carries up to 5 years in prison and $10,000 in fines. I didn't. You presented a forged document with intent to commit fraud. 20 witnesses saw you. He pulled out a folder. This is Adam's actual will, executed properly 6 months ago. Would you like me to read the relevant sections? Cassandra said nothing. Harold opened the document. To my wife, Bridget Morrison, I leave the entirety of my estate, including but not limited to our home at 445 Maple Drive, all bank accounts, investment portfolios, and personal property. He flipped a page. There's also this addendum. I specifically state that I have no children, biological or adopted. Any claims to the contrary are false. I have medical documentation to support this. But there's more, Harold continued. Adam included a provision about fraudulent claims. He read, should anyone attempt to claim paternity or present forged documents regarding my estate, I direct my executor to pursue full legal action, both criminal and civil. The room was tomb silent. As executor, Harold said, I'm obligated to follow Adam's wishes. However, Bridget, as the primary beneficiary, you have some say in how we proceed. All eyes turned to me. I could destroy Cassandra, press charges, pursue the fraud case, probably send her to prison. Lucas would grow up with his mother in jail. But I thought about Adam. What would he want? Not revenge, but protection. Not cruelty, but justice. Here's what's going to happen, I said. Cassandra, you're going to write a full confession about the forged will. Harold will keep it on file. If you ever come near me, my property, or make any claims against Adam's estate again, Harold will take that confession to the police. That's blackmail. That's mercy, Harold corrected. The alternative is, I call the district attorney right now. Cassandra looked around the room desperately, searching for an ally, but everyone had stepped back, creating a circle of space around her like she was contagious. Mom? She pleaded. Mom shook her head slowly. How could you? Using your own son in a lie? Trying to steal from your grieving sister? I was desperate. You were greedy, Mom said flatly. You've always been jealous of Bridget. But this is beyond anything I imagined you capable of. Fine, Cassandra exploded. You want the truth? Yes, I forged the will. Yes, I lied about Adam. But you all bought it, didn't you? You all believed perfect Adam could have cheated. No, said one of her work friends. We were just too polite to call you a liar to your face, but we all knew something was off. Adam would never, said our cousin Janet. He looked at Bridget like she hung the moon. And you, another cousin pointed at Cassandra, You've been weird about Adam for years. Remember that Christmas when you got drunk and said he was wasted on Bridget? More people started chiming in, memories surfacing of Cassandra's inappropriate behavior around Adam. The pattern was clear to everyone now. So who is Lucas's father? Mom asked quietly. Cassandra's face crumpled. Some guy from a conference in Vegas. He's married. He doesn't even know. The final truth. Lucas was just a baby born from a one-night stand, and Cassandra had tried to use him as a weapon to steal my home. I'll write your confession, she said to Harold, defeated. But then I'm done. With all of you. That's your choice, I said. But Lucas is innocent in this. If you ever need help for him, legitimate help, not lies and schemes, you can ask. Through Harold, not directly to me. She looked up, surprised. I'm not doing it for you, I clarified. I'm doing it because Adam would want that baby to have a chance, even if his mother is a criminal. Harold pulled out a legal pad and pen. Let's get this confession written now, while everyone's here to witness. As Cassandra wrote, her hand shaking, I felt something lift from my shoulders. Not grief, that would take time, but the weight of doubt, of confusion, of betrayal. Adam had protected me, even in death. He'd known who Cassandra really was and prepared for it. That was true love. Not flowers and poetry, but practical protection and foresight. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Within an hour of the party disaster, Cassandra's real estate firm had 3 voicemails on their emergency line from guests who worked in the industry. By Monday, she was on administrative leave, pending an ethics review. Forging legal documents, even outside of work, was grounds for losing her real estate license. Mom called me that night, crying. I'm so sorry, Bridget. I pushed you to help her. I believed her lies. She's your daughter, Mom. You wanted to believe the best of her. But I should have believed you. Adam was a good man, the best son-in-law I could have asked for. She paused. I told Cassandra she's not welcome at my house anymore. Not until she gets help. The family chose sides quickly. Most sided with me. The evidence was too overwhelming. But a few, the ones who always enabled Cassandra, tried to argue I should have handled it privately. She humiliated herself, I told them. She chose the venue, the audience, the lies. I just provided the truth. Harold filed the confession with multiple safeguards. Copies went to his office safe, my bank deposit box, and a third location Cassandra didn't know about. If she ever tried anything again, she'd face immediate prosecution. But the real vindication came a week later when Harold opened Adam's sealed letter. It was 3 pages, handwritten, dated 6 months before his death. My darling Bridget, it began, if you're reading this with Harold, it means Cassandra has tried something, and I'm not there to protect you. I'm sorry for that, but I'm not sorry for preparing for it. He detailed everything, every uncomfortable encounter, every suspicious question about our finances, every time she'd joked about what would happen if something happened to him. She once asked me completely seriously if I'd ever considered having an affair. When I said absolutely not, she said, "But what if Bridget never found out?" That's when I knew she was dangerous. The letter continued. I've taken precautions. The vasectomy was partly about us choosing our path, but also insurance against any claims. I've documented everything. Harold has video files, emails, even a recording of her propositioning me at last year's Christmas party. You are the only woman I've ever loved, will ever love. Don't let anyone, especially Cassandra, make you doubt that. I chose you every day for 12 years. I choose you still. I cried reading it. Not from sadness, but from the sheer relief of being known, protected, loved so thoroughly. 3 weeks after the party, I made a decision that surprised everyone, including myself. I sold the house, not because Cassandra had tainted it, but because Adam and I had built that life together. Without him, it was just walls and memories. I found a smaller place, still nice but more manageable, the kind of place where I could start fresh. The sale netted 820,000. The market had gone up. I put most of it into investments, following the plan Adam and I had made years ago. But I did something else too. I set up a college fund for Lucas, $50,000, locked until he turned 18, with one condition. Cassandra could never touch it. Harold would oversee it, and Lucas would only get access if he went to college or trade school. Why? Mom asked when I told her. Because Lucas didn't choose his mother. He didn't choose to be used as a weapon, and Adam would have wanted to help an innocent kid, even if he couldn't stand the kid's mother. Cassandra found out through Mom. She tried to refuse it, pride probably. But when Harold explained she had no say in it, that it was between me and Lucas's future, she broke down. She sent one text through Harold. "Thank you. I don't deserve your kindness." She was right. She didn't. But this wasn't about her. I also did something Adam would have laughed about. I took self-defense classes, not physical, legal. I learned about wills, estates, fraud, family law. I learned how to protect myself with knowledge, the way Adam had protected me with preparation. 6 months later, I heard through family gossip that Cassandra had moved to Portland. She'd lost her real estate license, but found work as an administrative assistant. She was in therapy, supposedly, working on her issues. I didn't care about her redemption arc. That was her journey, not mine. My journey was different. It was about learning to live with grief while honoring love. It was about being strong enough to enforce boundaries while compassionate enough to help an innocent child. It was about becoming the person Adam always believed I was: capable, strong, and unwilling to be anyone's victim. The house on Maple Drive sold to a young couple expecting their first child. When I handed over the keys, the wife said, "This place feels loved, like happy people lived here." They did, I told her. We really did. A year after Adam's death, I finally opened the last envelope Harold had been holding. Adam had labeled it, "For Bridget, 1 year later." Inside was a letter in a USB drive. "My love," the letter began. "If you're reading this on schedule, it's been a year. I hope the grief has softened. I hope you found your footing. I hope Cassandra didn't cause too much damage before Harold stopped her." I laughed through tears. Even dead, Adam knew exactly how things would play out. On this USB drive is something I've been working on. It's not romantic or sentimental. It's practical, because that's how I loved you. Practically, thoroughly, completely. The USB contained a complete financial plan for the next 40 years of my life. Investment strategies, budget projections, even recommendations for when to sell the house. When it feels too big, not when someone tells you to. He'd thought of everything. But at the end, there was a video file. Adam, sitting in his office, looking directly at the camera. "Hi, Bridge," he said, and my heart cracked all over again. "If you're watching this, I'm gone, and you've survived the first year. I'm so proud of you." He smiled, that crooked smile that made me fall in love at 26. "I need you to know something. I wasn't perfect. I made mistakes. But loving you wasn't one of them. Fighting to protect you, even from your own family, wasn't one of them." He leaned forward. "Cassandra is going to try something. I don't know what, but she's been escalating. The way she looks at our life, our home, it's not normal. So I've prepared everything Harold needs to stop her. But here's the important part. After you stop her, after you protect what's ours, I need you to let it go. Don't carry anger. Don't let her poison your future. Set your boundaries, enforce them, but then live your life." He paused, looked down, then back up. "Find happiness again, Bridget. Date someone when you're ready. Travel to all those places we planned to see. Take the cooking class you always talked about. Live, because that's what love is, wanting the person you love to be happy, even when you can't be there to see it." The video ended with him reaching toward the camera saying, "I love you, Bridge. Always." I watched it 3 times, crying less each time. Then I signed up for that cooking class. That was 2 years ago. I'm 40 now, living in my cozy townhouse, working as a financial advisor specializing in estate planning, helping other families avoid what I went through. I never spoke to Cassandra again. Mom tells me she's doing better, that therapy helped, that she's genuinely remorseful. Maybe that's true. But remorse doesn't erase betrayal, and forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation. Lucas will get his college fund in 15 years. Harold sends me annual updates. Just confirmation the fund is growing. I don't need to know more. Last month I went on my first date since Adam died. He's nothing like Adam. Quieter, more serious, owns a bookstore. Adam would have liked him, I think. We're taking it slow, but it feels like possibility. The lesson Adam taught me wasn't about protecting assets or documenting evidence. It was about love that thinks ahead, that plans for the worst while hoping for the best. It was about being strong enough to enforce boundaries and wise enough to know when to build them. True love doesn't just say, I love you. True love says, I've got you covered, even when I'm gone. So I'm curious, what would you have done in my situation? Would you have pressed charges against Cassandra? Or was letting her go the right choice? I still wonder sometimes. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever had to stand up to family who tried to take advantage, please share your experience in the comments. We're not alone in these battles. And if you think someone needs to hear this story, someone dealing with family betrayal or estate issues, please share it with them. Subscribe for more stories about standing up for yourself, setting boundaries, and finding strength in the hardest moments. Remember, document everything, trust your instincts, and never let anyone make you doubt your worth.